online setting once again. My name is Josh. I'm the Director of Youth Ministry here at First Congregational United Church of Christ in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is a program of this church. This is the Dwell Live program of the Dwell Youth Ministry. And I am just thrilled to be with you tonight. We're doing this way. We've been doing it this way online in this kind of online space because COVID. It's an ongoing pandemic that has been plaguing the world. And so we're being as safe as possible, which is why we're coming here in this kind of space. But just like we would be here in person, I wanted to welcome each and every one of you. Because here at First Congregational Church and here at Dwell Youth Ministry, everyone belongs. No matter who you love, no matter how you identify, no matter what you believe, no matter what you've done, this is a space for you. I'm so glad that you're here with us. Been doing these for the last few weeks, been answering some anonymous questions sent in by you. If you haven't seen those questions, I do have a link on the Instagram page at FCUCC Youth, where you can find the link in the bio of that page. Or if you've been getting my emails, it's there as well. I'm going to post it on the FCC Youth Facebook page as well, because I want your questions. Because this is a program tonight that is designed for and about you. I want to answer what you have. I can talk about a lot of things. There are a lot of things that I can just talk about, but I want to talk about what you want to talk about. So please give me your questions, and no question is off limits. One of my rules is that every sincere and honest question deserves a sincere and honest answer. So if you ask a question anonymously or in person with sincerity and honesty, then I will require of myself to answer it with sincerity and honesty. Hey, Matt, good to see you. Just so you know, this is a live program, so if you want to comment live, I see those comments right here on this screen, right there, so we can interact. If you're watching it afterwards, of course, I'm not going to be able to see your comments. But if you're here live with us, check us out. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. And you can watch it afterwards on YouTube and Instagram TV. So we are in the middle of Black History Month. This is a shame to be the shortest month of the year because Black folks deserve more than just a month, because American history is Black history. And so I wanted to mention that because this is a space where we also fervently believe that Black lives matter. And we will unabashedly say that. We have a banner outside the church right now that says that as well, because we fervently believe it. So tonight, we have a question coming from one of y'all. Let me go ahead and read this question to you. What are your and the church's opinions on alternate non-Protestant Bibles and the Apocrypha? Some of those non-Protestant Bibles include the Marcionite Bible, Bibles presenting Gospels from Thomas, Judas, Mary, and other such figures, which is a great question. There's a lot of different Bibles out. There's a lot of different Bibles out there. Of course, we know that there's a lot of different translations. The Bible has been translated over and over and over again throughout the 2,000 years of its existence. And so there's a lot of different translations, but there's also different kinds of Bibles, which is where this question is coming from. And thank you so much for asking it, whoever it was of you. And so, first of all, I'm going to say that I can't speak about the church's opinion because the church is a body of people with a very diverse set of beliefs. So First Congregational Church doesn't have just one view of the Bible, and they don't have one opinion on this question. Even among the staff, I'm assuming we all have differing opinions, and that's okay. We can have different opinions and still get along and still work together towards a common good, which is what we're trying to do. We are a body of people that is trying to make this world a better place. We are coming from a specifically Christian context, but that doesn't mean we are only Christian. We have people among our church that have different beliefs, even about the core things of Christianity. And I love that about this church, that we can disagree on some things, but we come together on some really core things like justice, like welcoming and being inclusive of every person, of every gender identity and every sexual orientation, that people from every demographic are welcome here. That's what I love about this church. But that's why I can't answer about the church's opinion on this question. But I can give you my opinion. But before I give you that, let me go ahead and talk about how the Bible was formed. I answered this a few weeks ago in a different question, but it's good to re-engage this kind of thing because it's complex. I'm going to give you a pretty short version of how the Bible was formed. So the Bible is a collection of writings written over thousands of years, and they were put together in a book that people have been reading for a very long time. There have been a lot of writings in both Jewish and Christian traditions that make up what we now call the Bible. And people have been writing since writing's been a thing. And not everything that's been written is included in the Bible, obviously. But there have been a lot of writings, even within Jewish and Christian communities, that have been circulated, that have been used widely, going from synagogue to synagogue, church to church, that have helped the community become what it is today. And not all of those writings are included in what we call the Bible. Early on, I can't give you specific dates, but over 1,000 years ago, like about 1,700 years ago-ish, people sat down and decided what should be included in the Bible. So people like you and I sat in a room together several times to decide what is the most important writings, what are the most highly used writings, what are the most consistently messaged writings that we can include in this text, this book of writings. And so they decided to include things like the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then a lot of writings from the Apostle Paul, among others. So what is included in the scriptures, specifically in the Christian scriptures, are those who are connected to Jesus, those who are writing about Jesus from the perspective of somebody who actually knew him. So a lot of the writings in the quote-unquote New Testament are people who interacted with the person of Jesus. And that was one of the requirements that many of these people were looking for. And so some of these extra writings that are mentioned here fall outside of that category. Not that they are bad or that they are wrong. It's just that for whatever reason, they were not included. Now, there are some writings, like the Gospel of Thomas, for instance, that there are some contradictory things in that book compared to other books that we include in our Bibles. Is that a bad thing? I don't necessarily think so. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Why? because people have different reasons to write things. Every author of every book in the Jewish and Christian scriptures had a reason to write what they did. They wrote it for a purpose, for a specific audience, and they had their own brains as they were writing it. And so everything we read has the lens of the author placed on it. And so even though there are contradictory things in other writings, that doesn't make them bad. As long as a core message is there that we can agree on. Some people write things that are not okay. People on the internet can write whatever they want. It doesn't make it okay. These crazy conspiracy theories have been propagated that have caused an immense amount of danger in our society. Not everything that's written is good. And so we have to establish what is good, what is true, and what is beautiful. Those are three things that I include in when I decide if something is good or not. If it is good, if it is true, and if it is beautiful, and if it promotes those things. And so when I look at these other writings and non-Protestant Bibles, do I find those qualifications met? Often, yes. So what is my opinion of these alternate Bibles? If it helps you on your journey of discovering the divine and discovering yourself, then I think it's good. You should always question what you read. You shouldn't just read things with an necessarily open mind, thinking that whatever is written is good, because that's just not true. But if what you read in whatever text, whatever version of the Bible that you have, if it brings you joy and it makes you a better person, a more loving, a more caring, a more just person, then I think it's great. Matt says, people say bad things online and we have to filter out the bad things that we don't want to read and what we think is right. That is spot on, Matt. We should be filtering what we consume because not everything is good. Not everything is beneficial for us. That's okay. We can just not read what's not beneficial. We can do that. We can choose to do that. And then conversely, we can also choose to read what is beneficial, whether that is the Bible or a different version of the Bible or even a different religious text, say the Quran or other texts from other religions. You're allowed to read those because there is truth in there. Not that everything is true, but truth is found within other religions and other texts. We can embrace the diversity of humanity because God is way bigger than the Christian tradition. If we think that we know God fully and completely, then we are just fooling ourselves. So that's my opinion on this question, is that feel free to read what you want. Feel free to ask the questions that need to be asked of the texts that you read. Don't just wholeheartedly believe them. And that includes the Bible. You can ask questions of that book as well. Because not everything we read in there is helpful for us. I know a Christian youth minister saying that maybe you should question the Bible. I get it. That's probably a little wild. And I think that's okay. We can learn from this text, and we can learn from other ones as well. So ask questions, go with an open mind, but don't just believe for belief's sake. Make sure that what you're reading is making you a better person, and getting you in touch with life itself. For some of us, we might be saying that gets us in touch with God. For others, it gets us in touch with ourselves or the grounding of reality. Whatever it is you find on your journey, I hope it's good for you. And perhaps we can bring it here together so we can talk about it together. Because we can learn from one another as well. We can learn from others in other traditions too. So that's all I have for you tonight. Like I said earlier, I would love to see your questions. I'll be answering them on these future Wednesday nights as we gather during this COVID time. So I love each and every one of you. You are amazing people that help make this world a better place. And this world is better because of you, because you're here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. There's nothing you have to change about yourself to be accepted here. I like you just as you are. All right, y'all. I love you. Have a good night.